Can you help me understand the Day of Atonement? You know the best explanation for the Day of Atonement in the word itself? At one meant. The people had been separated from the Lord by sin. They had a ceremony at the end of the year, and we'll deal more with that in another study, that explained how they could be reunited with the Lord by being cleansed from their sins. The Day of Atonement was a time at the end of the year when the priests would blow their trumpets, and the folks would gather, they would put away their sin, they'd humble themselves, they'd confess their faults to one another, and then they would be cleansed from their sin on the Day of Atonement service. That's found in Leviticus chapter 16. Question number 15. Does the Day of Atonement symbolize or foreshadow a part of God's great plan of salvation, as did the other facets of the earthly sanctuary and its services? Let's read this from Hebrews chapter 9. It was therefore necessary that the patterns of things in the heavens should be purified with these, but the heavenly things themselves with better sacrifices. Now, if Christ is the Lamb, and He's offering His blood, and He's the high priest, and the Bible tells us in Revelation there's a candlestick, that makes it sound like there's a holy place, and then there's the Ark of the Covenant, which is the Holy of Holies, it might also stand to reason that the Lord is going to go through a heavenly cleansing of the sanctuary. Now let me explain very quickly what that means. Is it clear to everybody that when Jesus comes, He's rewarding everyone when He comes? He says, "Behold, my reward is with me to give to every man according to his works." So some investigation takes place before He comes. The Bible tells us in the book of, I think it's 1 Peter, judgment must begin at the house of God. And if judgment begin at us, what will be the end of them that obey not the gospel? That was synonymous with the Day of Atonement. Ezekiel chapter 9, same thing. A judgment begins at the sanctuary with God's people before the Lord comes to determine who are really His and who are saying, "Lord, Lord," but don't really know Him. We're living in the time of the investigative judgment now. There's a judgment that takes place before Jesus comes. There's a judgment during the 1,000 years, and then an executive judgment at the end of the millennium, and we have a lesson that deals with that. All right, number 16. Are you willing to accept the truth that may be new to you as God reveals it? Are you willing to follow where Christ leads? Are you willing, friends, to be crucified with Jesus and to live a new life, to be a new creature? If your answer is yes, I hope you'll write that on the line there. We ask those last appeal questions because we think they're important.